Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, January 15th. I'm Jeremy Lambert. That is not Joel Pearl. He is still fired for making hoe-ass comments. I don't care if I'm within 5 minutes. Fired for making hoe-ass comments last week. SP3 is still here. It is in the weeds. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Monday. Thank you, SP3, for joining us on this beautiful Monday. I definitely did not give you about like 20 minutes notice to do this. I definitely gave you like 2 days notice.
Oh yeah. Last time I was on In the Weeds, I do like a week in advance. the difference. This is why I'm saying Sean Rossap, Jimmy Van. Y'all just need me as the calling guy. I used to work at Victoria's Secret. So there always used to be a calling guy, and he never got paid unless someone called out and he had to fill in. So let me be that for Fightful.
We just need you on like a retainer.
Yeah,
basically. So to get in the weeds a little bit here, Joel was supposed to be on the show today. He was at TNA this past weekend. He was at Hard to Kill. He was at Snake Eyes last night. He was supposed to be on the show today. He was, I guess his internet would have been fine at Vegas, where I believe he still is. Everything was supposed to be fine, right? I get a message at about 2:30 last night. I don't see it until this morning. I get a message at 2:30 last night. Hey, really sorry. My internet is being terrible. Can't even like set up the StreamYard or like anything. I don't see this message until about 9:20 this morning, because usually I'm up early. Kids are going to school. You know, I'm out and about. I'm good to go in the morning. I'm up by like 8 o'clock or so, sometimes earlier. But it's Martin Luther King Day. Kids don't have school today. I get to sleep in.
Happy Dr. King Day. Yeah.
I get to sleep in. So I don't see this message until about 9:20. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I guess I'm doing a show in about 40 minutes that I got to set up, because it's not set up or anything. That's why the thumbnail is just a normal picture of old Dolph there and not some fancy little thumbnail that we usually have. And then I got a message SP3 at about 9:30 after I set everything up, like, hey, I know this is short notice. Can you do the show? And SP3, as usual, comes through. So that is why SP3 is here. That is why Joel is not here. Everyone, please message Joel and just call him a hoe ass. That's it. That's all you got to message.
Joel did this on purpose because it's Dr. King Day. It is Martin Luther King Day. So you had to have the mocha tint in the weeds, because I had a dream that Sean Rossap and Jimmy Van would hire me on retainer, and I could get paid for all the times I'll fill in. I have a dream today on this day, January 15th, 2024, that SP3, a short black man from Harlem, New York, can scream on a camera about professional wrestling for Fightful and get paid for it. I have a dream today.
I hope your dreams come true, SP3. I don't get paid for this show, so this is the one show that I know
somebody should get paid for this show, because
I don't get paid for this show. Joel doesn't get paid for this show. Nobody gets paid actually for this show. So this is the one show that you don't want to fill in on, because nobody gets paid on this show. Hey, but if you want to help other people on this channel, like SP3, get paid, you actually get paid more doing FMC than this show from the super chat money from this show, if that makes any sense. So if you want to help pay SP3, leave us some super chats. Leave us some super chats. Get your question, comment, statement right on the air. Subscribe to the channel. We're very close to 15,000 subscribers. Leave a thumbs up. Usually I can do like the fireworks bit while Joel rants and does all the specifics here. We can leave a thumbs up on the video. Maybe we'll get some fireworks for leaving a thumbs up. Maybe not. Maybe our fireworks don't want to work today. It looks like it's like threatening to work.
You're the person that I know all of this for. Thank you. There you go. Is because Chrissy Love on True Hill Heat did the heart, and all the hearts popped up, and it popped her. She was like so amazed. I was like, yeah, you can put the thumbs up and you can do the firework, because she has a new MacBook. And she was trying to do it. She couldn't do it, but she could do the heart. And
the first time we did it, Zarian was on with us. I see Andrew Zarian in the chat. Zarian was on with us, and we were just like counting.
The olive tint in the weeds.
2 does the balloons. There you go. There's the balloons. That was the first time. I thought Joel hit some button that did that for us. And I was like, Joel, what are you do it. And then like we had this whole conversation about it, and then that's how we learned all of this stuff. And then I did the 2 and balloons, and then an actual balloon came floating up behind me, a real balloon. Somebody has a clip of that. I think I actually clipped that one. That was a moment in Weeds history right there. Put that compilation, Sean.
Yeah, I was about to say there needs to be like a compilation show of all the great moments you've had with guests, you've had with in the Zarian zone.
We're coming up on like a year of this show. I mean, it's a few months away, April, but like
still, that's man. You going to turn around tomorrow and be like, oh damn, it's April already.
Ah, God. You know what? That's fine, because if it's like mid-April, that means Mania season's over. We're through all of that. Like,
but like April, man, they just made it even busier because after WrestleMania, man, my eyes is on Windy City Riot because New Japan tried to sell out 10,000 seats. It seems.
We'll start there. We'll start there with New Japan Battle in the Valley. It was a busy weekend, everybody. We're gonna talk some New Japan Battle in the Valley. We're gonna talk some TNA. We're gonna talk some Raw from tonight, and then everything else going on. New Japan Battle in the Valley. What's funny about this? I don't know if funny is the right word, but old Jack Perry just shows up, attacks Shota, and by the end of the night, this is like a non-story. People like barely remembered that old Jack Perry showed up because we had Okada and Ospreay. We had Shingo and Mox. We had Moxley and Naito being announced for Windy City Riot. Ali and Hiromu being announced for Windy City Riot. Like, by the end of the night, people were like, oh yeah, Jack Perry showed up. But to me, I didn't put it in the headline, but to me, like, Jack Perry showing up was one of the bigger stories of the weekend. Yeah. No one saw this coming. No one saw Jack Perry coming. So after the 6-man match, I think it was 6-man, might have been 8-man. After the multi-man match on Battle in the Valley,
Shota Umino, Jacob Fatu, who showed the hell out. Yeah. Fred Rosser versus Team Filthy, Tom Lawler, Royce Isaacs, and Jarrell Nelson.
There you go. So after the match, Shota's just taking pictures with fans. All of a sudden, some dude just cold clocks him from the audience. Turns out it's old Jungle Jack. He's got his new Luke Perry beard and everything going on, looking disheveled as could be. He rips up his AEW contract. He has a armband that says scapegoat. And then it looks like he mouths something about, hey, Tony Khan, pick up my phone call instead of tweeting all the damn time. And that was it. We didn't hear from Jungle Jack past that. But it looks like he's going to be part of New Japan a little bit moving forward. Tony Khan was tweeting during the show, didn't address Jungle Jack. He could put over Moxley, clearly.
He was tweeting all throughout that matchup, but not just Jack Perry.
But Jack Perry is back. I mean, what did you think when you saw this, SP3?
Oh, it shocked me because I was just like stunned by it because it just seemed like the regular New Japan thing where the babyface goes around the ring, has a little moment with the fans and stuff, and then you just have someone in a Bushi mask. It's always the Bushi mask. Jericho did it. Like so many people just wear the Bushi mask for these attacks. And I love the fact that Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio said that they didn't tell security. They didn't tell anyone around the ring. So they really thought a fan just punched Shota Umino in the face.
That would have been really bad if security actually did their job and just friggin' tackled him. Or who that? Lisa did when Gronkowski tried to get in there for WrestleMania. And Lisa's like, no, dude, I don't know who you are. Gronkowski's an actual celebrity, like a pretty well-known name. And Lisa's like, nah, you're not allowed to jump this barricade. Get out of here. New Japan Security, what are we doing here? Do your job.
But yeah, he reveals this whole new look, the whole big beard. He gives the big running knee to Shooter and then rips up his AEW contract. It felt like one of the, I agree with you. I think that him and the Nic Nemeth debut in TNA, those are the two big stories of the weekend. I know for New Japan fans, there was other exciting things that happened throughout the night, and we'll get into that. But this was kind of like the big news story because it seems like because of the partnership between AEW and NJPW that they are doing some type of Brian Pillman type of angle with Jack Perry. And it seems like this is something that Tony Khan has wanted to do for a while. It seems like it's something that MJF wanted to do back in 2022. And it seems like other people, they have tried to kind of have that illusion, but this is the first time that they had like a big angle for it. And him feuding with Shota Umino, I think that that's something that's going to help both guys. And it pulls Shooter away from Ren Narita for a while, which is good because Ren Narita joined the dark side. He's smoking cigarettes at the back of a Rite Aid with the rest of the House of Torture. So Shota Umino is better off feuding with this scapegoat Jack Perry, because that seems like that's going to be his name. And I think that he's going to benefit from being over in Japan and getting that crowd used to him. And I put out the tweet right after the whole angle happened that Tony Khan saw all the negative reaction from Japanese fans towards Jack Perry challenging for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship last year at Forbidden Door against Sonata. And he was like, you know what? We're just going to throw you over there. You got to swim with the sharks over in New Japan.
Jack Perry goes over there and just nothing but headlocks and shit the entire time. Just slow it down. I guess House of Torture already does that, which wouldn't be great. But yeah, just slow it down with some headlocks and everything. Look, I'm looking forward to what they do with Jack Perry here. He's been off television since All In. We have not seen him since Hook defeated him. And now we're going to see where they actually go with all this, because it's an AEW angle. He's not fired from AEW. He ripped up his contract, but look, it's a story, everybody. I would maybe CM Punk. Maybe that's all he had to do after Brawl Out. Maybe you're just like, oh shit, I could have just shown up elsewhere and ripped up my contract and been good. I didn't have to like come back.
Remember, CM Punk was in the crowd at Battle in the Valley last year. He was like, yeah, he's probably watching it at home. Like, I could have just jumped in the ring and ripped up my contract. I didn't have to go back to WWE. Damn.
I didn't have to go backstage at TNA, go backstage at WWE. I didn't have to go and get Collision and everything. I could have just ripped up the contract and that been it. Shit. He could have learned something from Jack Perry. He tried to be mean to Jack Perry. He tried to hold him down by not using him real glass. Turns out he could have learned something from old Jungle Jack there. But I'm very curious to see what they do now with Jack Perry. Looks like he's going to be in New Japan for a while. At some point, he gets back on AEW television. How does that happen is where I'm curious. We all were kind of theorizing, oh, he's going to join the patriarchy. He's going to be reunited with Christian and Luchasaurus, or he's going to pull Luchasaurus from the patriarchy and just do a heel team with them. There were other people were theorizing, fantasy booking different things for old Jungle Jack, but the end game was AEW. The end game is still AEW, obviously, but now how do you get there with that? I guess we'll see. I'd keep him in Japan for a while. I'd have him be in Japan at least through the summer, like maybe double or nothing.
Forbidden Door.
Forbidden Door isn't easy come back.
If you have Ospreay now moving over from basically from the New Japan side to the AEW side, you need someone that can kind of like fill a void. And I won't say that he's filling any type of shoes of Will Ospreay, but you need a name from AEW to kind of replace that over in New Japan. And if they have him over there for like 6 months, and he can even start his own stable of maybe got other guys from AEW that aren't getting a lot of time on TV and feel like they are being disgruntled, and maybe he starts a whole disgruntled stable of AEW stars in New Japan. I think that would be very interesting. No, that's just losers. Dark Order's just losers.
Well, Dark Order won this week because they had to honor Brody Lee, so they won this week.
I mean, I was like, what, we're doing this on Rampage too, and this is the main event.
They had to honor Brody, so all the Dark Order people won. Who are disgruntled people?
We got Angelo Parker with cake on his face in the main event of a TV show.
Hey, as a man who did a whole show with cake on his face, I respected Angelo Parker for that. Who was disgruntled in AEW that old Jack can pull over and be like, come to Japan and let's beat people up?
Miro. Miro would own in Japan. It was like a light bulb. I heard you about to ask the question, and Miro just was like the light bulb above my head, because I was like, Miro's disgruntled. Miro can kill it. He would they would love him. They love big men from WWE. That's what they love in Japan. Giant Bernard, Luke Gallows' best run of his career was in Japan. Like, this is what happens. Vader, like, he was so much better in Japan than he was in WWE. Like, Japan just elevates these big men, and Miro is already great. He was great in WWE. He's been great at times in AEW when he's been given the opportunity to have something to sink his teeth into. I think that him being the heavy of this potential stable, we're booking this whole angle for you, Tony. I hope you're watching. You had Miro as the heavy for this stable. I think that would help elevate it a bit.
All right, I like Miro. That's a good shout right there. Miro, Frantic World says Ricky Starks. Ricky's a tag team champion. I don't think Ricky's going anywhere right now. You know who's going to end up going over there? I'm sorry to ruin this for everybody. Old Christopher is going to go over there. And he's going to be like, oh, I need the break from AEW. I know, I'm written off. He said he needed to go back to Japan to lose to Takeshita. They still got to do that rematch. Old Chris is going to go over there. Be like, the Painmaker's back, baby. That's who he's going to bring. Jungle Jack and the Painmaker?
Jungle Jack, the Painmaker, Sammy Guevara. Like, they're just going to throw all this.
That sounds like the worst idea ever. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry.
He's just going to make it about himself. Like, that's not the point. The point of all of this is to elevate Jack Perry.
Nah, they gotta send Chris over there because he's the mediator. You know, Chris gets everybody on the same page. He's the locker room leader. Chris gets everybody together. So he's gonna go over there and he's gonna talk some sense into old Jungle Jack. Like, what are you doing here? You're not the scapegoat, man. Like, come back home. You didn't do anything wrong. I know you're mad about things right now, but come back home. Santana's a good shout.
That's a good shout. I like that. That's a good shout too.
Christopher is gonna go over there though. All right, so let's Miro, Santana. That's good. Perry. Do we need one more?
Yeah, you need one more because the New Japan loves those 4-on-4 tags. So
they do love
the stables usually, for the stable to last a little bit, it needs to be more than 3 people. We saw with like Strong Style with Ren Narita, Minoru Suzuki, and El Desperado. They get bored with those 3 people stables.
I like the idea of it being 4 individuals and not like tags either. Yeah. Like, I don't need to. They can do tag team matches, obviously, but I don't need like an actual tag team.
No, you could put like Santana in the juniors.
Santana's not a junior.
Neither is Shingo Takagi.
When was the last time
Shingo Takagi but Shingo Takagi started off in New Japan as a junior. Drilla Maloney's not a junior. Like, what are we talking about?
We're not putting Santana in the juniors.
Yeah, you could put They could definitely pull off just saying, yeah, Santana, you're a junior.
Anthony a Go-Go. Can a Go-Go be in this? Go-Go just knocking people. I think a Go-Go would be fine in Japan. He'd do well.
Yeah, he probably would. He probably actually would. Yeah, they love these like big man. There's just something about the aura, and I think that Go-Go's look is something that would get over in Japan.
Yeah. All right. That's our 4. Anybody else that we maybe want to replace?
I don't know. We got any more shouts? Malachi's busy. They actually got him in the main event program over on Collision.
Yeah, you're not putting Malachi in there.
Yeah. No, and he's already got House of Black. Trent, they throw him into title matches every once in a while.
Tony loves Trent.
Yeah.
Nah. We're not doing Trent. Trent's part of Best Friends, even though like they can't help Orange Cassidy for some reason.
Yeah. No, he got surrounded and he needs the help of Adam Copeland, rated FTR. He needed the help of them.
All right, we're going with a Go-Go. A Go-Go hasn't been on like television at all. He was at All In because they were in London. Like, hey, remember this guy? And then they just did.
Yeah, any other people that I would think of, they are kind of using now.
And they're using most people. Like, yeah. I think somebody like Moriarty, I know he just faced Copeland.
Yeah, that's who I immediately thought of because I've been saying I said it on the ROH review on Fightful that Moriarty should be getting more uses, even if it's in Ring of Honor. Like, I thought that he should be like a natural person that you put in there with Wheeler Yuta in the Pure division. and you can make that the new rivalry, because they had Yuta and Garcia the first year that Tony Khan owned Ring of Honor. That was the pure title feud, but he had Yuta and Shibata last year, and now he needs a new feud. Lee Moriarty's right there.
Butcher and Blade would be great in Japan. That'd be really good.
Would be.
Yeah.
They really need to use this partnership, and I think that they have started off 2024 on a much better foot with the partnership, as far as like I felt like the AEW inclusion in Wrestle Kingdom really elevated that card that I was kind of like had low expectations for, but it really set the bar for the show of the year, because there were so many great matches, and having Danielson versus Okada, having Moxley in there in that 3-way with Finlay and Ospreay, it just elevated the card and gave us two of the best matches of the night. And then when you look at Battle in the Valley, oh my God, Moxley and Shingo, that might have been the best match.
Okay, am I disconnected or is SP3? Because if I just sat in silence here because SP3 got disconnected, that wouldn't have been good. Someone in the chat, let me know. Oh, SP3 is disconnected. Okay. Well, that was usually I'm typically disconnected, so I'm waiting for it to like re-catch up. So I apologize as I just sat here in silence for that, because it's actually SP3's connection for once. Oh, amazing. Okay, so he was talking about Shingo and Moxley. All right, SP3 is now gone for a second here. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody in the chat. And apologies for me just kind of sitting there looking dumbfounded for a second. I'm so used to me disconnecting that I just sit, I wait for it to catch up, and then it goes, and then it re-catches up. So thank you for letting me. All right. SP3 should be back here shortly. He was talking about Shingo and John Moxley. I have a hot take about that match, but I'll wait until SP3 gets back. Wardlow's doing the thing with Undisputed Kingdom right now. Like, he's not going anywhere with going to like Japan or anything. I was thinking like Ethan Page. I know he's like doing ROH, but after the I Quit match, he kind of hasn't done a whole lot of that with like substance and everything. So I don't know if he would go to Japan for a little bit. I like the guys we got. Agogo is a guy who hasn't really gotten shown anything. So getting him reps, I think, would just be good for him, especially over in Japan. Miro would be great in Japan. Workhorseman would be fantastic in Japan. We'll see if they start using them a little bit more. But Miro, I think, would be good with Jungle Jack. And what was the other name that we had on that list? Right. Santana. Santana would be good. I think he would be really good. Will saying, sad thing is that Chris Jericho faction sounds too real. We know he would pitch that. Yeah, I'd said it jokingly if Jericho would go over there and like try to pull Jack Perry back and be not a painmaker but more the peacemaker, even though that's copyright. John Cena will get very upset at him. It is probably something Jericho will do. I don't know what they're gonna do with Jericho at this point. He lost, him and Sammy lost, but it still looks like they're continuing the feud with the Don Callis family. So I don't think we're getting Jericho off of television. I think we're going to continue with Jericho and Sammy against the Don Callis family. Why? Because every Jericho feud must last like 6 months. So what does that do for Ricky and Big Bill? I don't know. Maybe they finally get a tag team feud against a team that's not Chris Jericho. But right now that they're putting more focus on the trios division than the tag division. The tag division is Young Bucks against Sting and Darby. So that's where the tag team division is. SP3, I thought I froze, and so I just sat here in like silence, like waiting for my connection to reconnect, but it was you who was actually frozen. So like there's great audio of nothing and me just staring blankly because I was waiting for me to like reconnect everything. And then the chat had to inform me that
you're so used to yourself being the robot.
Yes, I'm so used to that. Yeah, exactly.
No, I don't know. I don't know what happened. My internet. I have Optimum internet, which is the worst here in New York. And apparently it just had my service without the internet for a second there. But what I was saying before I was rudely interrupted by Joel sending his Wi-Fi from Las Vegas to me. Jon Moxley versus Shingo Takagi. That's what I was saying.
I got a hot take on that match.
Go ahead. Let me hear it before I say anything.
I didn't like it.
Why?
Man, the finisher kickouts kill it for me. Just so many kickouts on this stuff. Can we not do this? It's
What
already
finisher?
1:30.
What
It's already
finisher?
Shingo hit that man with like a pumping bomber, a made in Japan onto chairs, and he's kicking out of all this stuff.
None of those is his finisher.
He kicked out of it. He wins matches with that stuff.
He wins it against young boys, not against one of the best wrestlers in the world.
Didn't like
every matchup against Okada, against Ibushi, against Tanahashi, Naito, doesn't matter. Shingo always beats those guys with the Last of the Dragon, and that's what made this match great. Is because he never hit it. He never hit it. Even when I thought he was gonna hit it, after he did that big sequence where he does the Death Valley off the second rope through the table, he does a pumping bomber with the chain, hits it with the chair, made in Japan on the chair. I thought that was over. That's a great near fall.
Put a man down.
That's a great near fall. That's a great near fall because Jon Moxley has established that he will kick out of all this stuff. I thought this match was fantastic. I thought this was one of the best matches of the year and one of the best matches of Jon Moxley's career.
It wasn't better than Okada and Danielson.
No, but close second. Close second. Match of the night.
Honestly, one of the worst matches of the year for me.
Oh my God, you're the same guy that likes Kane versus Big Show from 2006. A matchup that people probably have scrubbed from their mind stays with you nearly 2 decades later.
All right, a stomp and is Jon Moxley's finisher not a Death Rider? He hit a curb stomp and a Death Rider.
He hit the paradigm shift.
It's the same damn move.
No,
he did it. He lifted him.
Death Rider is lifting, and then he did it on a chair. That was it.
He lifted him after the stomp. He lifted him. That wasn't a paradigm shift.
He didn't get him up enough. Didn't get the cover quick enough.
He kicked out at 1 on that.
Because he's Shingo fucking Takagi. Put some respect on Shingo Takagi's name. He went into Jon Moxley's playing field and he thrived in it. I thought he did better in Jon Moxley's style of matchup than even Hangman did. And that was 5-star last year. Again, at Revolution 2023, I thought Shingo, he added his pacing, his storytelling to the matchup, how he just Moxley kind of battered him and bruised him, bloodied him up with the splinters from the kendo stick in the head, hanging him up with the chain. And then Shingo just came back and just unloaded on him. But it took all of that. He gave him the same amount of punishment that Moxley gave him in the first few minutes of the matchup. Then Shingo gave it to him, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough for Moxley to pink Shingo with the assault that he gave him in the first 10 minutes, and it wasn't enough for Shingo for the assault he gave him for the next 5 to 10 minutes after that. And then it was just all out high impact moves, weapons being used at the right time. The crowd was on their feet. I had multiple people that were at the show that was like, yeah, that was the match of the night. And that was before Okada and Ospreay put on nearly 30 minutes of beautiful professional wrestling. And if you don't want kickouts from finishers, I mean, you should complain about Will Ospreay kicking out a Rainmaker.
I will. I don't like that either. I didn't like the match. 5.5 stars.
That is literally what Dave Meltzer's gonna do.
My favorite bit.
Dave Meltzer's gonna be like, oh my God, the headbutts. The headbutt. Man, why does he need to use the kendo stick to the head? This is not for me, but 5 3/4. I love it. I love Dave. I just want to give him a hug when I read those type of descriptions for the rating.
Afraid to just make people mad of I didn't like this match. 2 stars. It just wasn't for me. It's my personal taste. Like I enjoyed the match. I'm being very over dramatic, and really, I'm just going against SP3 because I think it's funny. After he's trying to praise it to death, I did really enjoy the match. Is the finisher kick out stuff like not for me? Yes. Do I think like it's just overused in a lot of aspects? Yes, I do. Does it make sense here? Yeah, I get it. It's a street fight, no DQ, whatever. And so like they have more fighting spirit than usual. Like I get that. I understand why they do the kickouts when they do them. I will say, and this is what I try to always say when it comes to this, what did the crowd think? The crowd was fully behind this match, fully invested in this match. And so as long as they were all into it and it was working for them, who really cares what I think? Like if I didn't like it, whatever. It was for that crowd. That
The
crowd
crowd was
enjoyed.
on their feet in
Yes.
minute 25, like they were in minute 1. Like they went over 25 minutes and they just beat the ever hell out of each other. And
Exactly.
those final 3 matches had like some hard hitting action because I think that they went so hard because they had to follow Kingston and Kidd, who just slapped hellfire and just had this wild brawl that ended in a double countout right before they had a no DQ match. So they had to go extra hard, use the weapons, and have the John Moxley style matchup. What with the Shingo Takagi pacing. That's why I thought this was fantastic. Outstanding. One of the best matches I've seen this year, which is 2 weeks.
It was a great match. I'm again just kidding, everybody. I'm just being an asshole to combat SP3 on this. It was too long. Well, but everyone knows my wheelhouse is 12 to 18 minutes.
No,
Anything over 18 minutes, I dislike.
So you loved Kingston and Kidd. Kingston Kidd match of the night.
That was 6 seconds too long. Actually,
no, it went 11:56. I think it went 11:56.
Cage match had it at 12:06. So could have cut off that last 6 seconds. That count out. I don't know now if I'm frozen or SP3. Okay, there we go.
I'm not frozen.
6 seconds. 6 seconds off. No, I did love Eddie Kingston and Gabe Kidd, and I love that. Like we're gonna get more out of that. That's a feud that we talked about a little bit on Friday. Of like, all right, it seemed like Eddie's just gonna win because Gabe Kidd probably ain't winning no AEW title, but now they're gonna continue it a little bit. Maybe Gabe Kidd does come to AEW and he brings the War Dogs with him, everything, and we get some. You got Bullet Club Gold there in AEW. We can blend some stuff in there. I mean, the War Dogs got to go through United Empire first. That's the cage match in less than a month now. So we'll see where they go after that. But like, there's meat on a Eddie Kingston Gabe Kidd feud, and I'm glad they're going to be doing a little bit more with that. So look, New Japan Battle in the Valley was a really good show. I had a rough day on Saturday, so like staying up until 2:00 in the morning. Working. I've said this before, like me watching wrestling is different than everybody else watching wrestling because I'm working during it. I'm like covering and writing articles and stuff, and I'm tired. I just want to go to bed. I can't just like sit down, enjoy it, and say, okay, cool, my night's done. Like, or now, I can watch this a little bit later. It's like, now I got to stay up and like work and everything. So I view it a little bit differently. By the time we hit 1:00, I just want the damn show to end so I can go to bed. That's it. I've been watching wrestling for 5 hours. I've been working for 5 hours. Tired.
And it went 4 hours.
I know. I thought it was going to end at 1.
I thought it was too.
You should have seen my despair when like it's like 12:45 and like the Chosen Bros are just getting in the ring. I'm like, oh, well, this thing ain't ending at 1. There's still 3 matches left, and all those are going half an hour.
Yo, I was like, man, damn, I didn't know it was gonna be this long. I mean, I was into the final 2 matches. Like, I was feeling tired right before Shingo and Moxley, but Shingo and Moxley like woke me the hell up. And shout outs to Power Driver Finisher who's in the chat because I asked him yesterday which match he thought was better, and I agree with him. It's hard to really say between Moxley and Shingo and Ospreay and Okada because those are 2 totally different matches, but they were both fantastic in my opinion. I loved all the final like 5 matches on this card because I thought Chosen Bros versus TMDK was a nice little tag team matchup. And for what I will whatever people want to say about Matt Riddle, and I have my own feelings about Matt Riddle and what he does outside of the ring, seeing him in the ring with a bad dude Tito and especially with a Zack Sabre Jr., I was like, yeah, I wouldn't mind if Matt Riddle was in the G1 this year. I was like,
It might be,
I mean, that might be the thing that could like revive and get people excited about seeing him wrestle again and seeing him in great matches with the roster at New Japan. So seeing him mix it up with Zack Sabre Jr. again was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed Julia versus Trish Adora. I thought that was a good, hard hitting matchup that felt like one of the better matchups that I've seen from Trish Adora. So I really enjoyed this one. I would say this is right up there as one of the best NJPW strong or NJPW in the USA shows that they've done.
Yeah, I'm with you. It was a really good show. You know, I like Shingo and Moxley better than Ospreay and Okada, for the record. Here's a hot take.
No. I do agree with you because I felt like the finish to Okada and Ospreay felt weird. It felt kind of like the Undertaker Shawn Michaels finish of the part 2 at WrestleMania 26, and then he just gives him a tombstone because he's just dead. But they didn't really kind of build to it the way that match did. So it felt kind of weird with that finish where he just picks him up real slow, puts him into the Rainmaker position, hits him with the Rainmaker, and then pins him real slow. It just felt weird.
No, I'll give you a hot take. That wasn't my hot take that I like that match better. My hot take is, of those 4, Shingo Takagi is the best wrestler.
That's not a hot take.
I mean, it feels like it's a hot take. Of those 4, how many people are actually picking Shingo as the best wrestler of those 4?
Not many, but if you watch wrestling, if you watch New Japan, you know that Shingo Takagi is the most slept on out of those 4. All those 4 guys.
I didn't say most slept on. I said he's the best.
No. But I'm saying he's the most slept on, and he can be the best because he has pound for pound given all these guys some of their best matches of their career, if not the best match of their career. Go back to the Best of Super Junior finals.
Jon Moxley, overrated, relying way too much on deathmatch stuff lately. I'm tired of it. Will Ospreay, overrated. He just does the same moves nowadays. Now that he doesn't do any more of the aerial stuff, now he just relies on the same striking stuff. Okada, his money clip still sucks. And
he don't do it that much anymore.
I know, because he realized it sucks.
He listening to us. He I'm gonna throw that out of the arsenal because nobody likes that. I don't agree with you with Ospreay. Ospreay is definitely not overrated. He is in my opinion, Will Ospreay right now is the best wrestler in the world and one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. But so is Shingo Takagi. Shingo Takagi is just a master at pacing, escalation, and drama. No one gets a crowd into a matchup like Shingo Takagi. You saw that in San Jose. You will see it in Osaka. You'll see it all across Japan. And and he's always been like that. The first time I saw Shingo Takagi was back in 2006 in that Dragon Gate 6-man for Ring of Honor at Supercard of Honor 2006. And he has just gotten better and better as time has went on. So Shingo, I don't blame anyone who thinks that he's the best wrestler out of those 4.
He is. That's fact. Not opinion. Straight facts only. Could you imagine if people actually watched this show and clipped it, and people would put it on Reddit? This fightful dork says Will Ospreay is overrated and not actually good. People are going to take me serious when it comes to this stuff. We got to you got to do the disclaimer for me like you do with Jimmy and everything.
We need that. I'm gonna call Romeo. We need a Jeremy Lambert.
It needs to be the same disclaimer that's in my Twitter of 95% of my opinions are just to pop me and I'm just screwing around and everything. Will Ospreay is amazing. Okada is amazing. They are both 2 of the best in the world, 2 of the best of all time. All right, everybody, they're not better than Shingo. The best wrestler on this card, by the way, was Jacob Fatu.
Man, he just came in and was like, I'm gonna get a contract. He came in and he was like, I'm about to earn this check real quick and show the whole world, because I saw so many people just clip that little hot tag that he did, and I was just like, wow. And he had the crowd on their feet. Jacob Fatu, seriously, if I'm a TNA, if I'm MLW, I'm looking at the contract like you might want to
Well,
extend his
here's the thing
contract.
with Jacob Fatu. I think everybody knows he's good.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's no secret. No, Jacob Fatu is not this like hidden secret that nobody's ever seen. It's like,
But
who's this guy?
not a lot of people have seen him.
Okay, but if you're
It's like what you just said with Shingo Takagi being the best of the four. If you're just talking to a casual wrestling fan who's only
sure,
watching WWE and AEW, and you say Shingo Takagi is the best out of four, they're gonna be like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. But they don't know what they talking about. Like the lack of knowing or seeing, you just think, oh, Jacob Fatu, oh, he's one of the part of the Anatomy family. Okay, throw him in the Bloodline storyline. That's all he can do. That's all.
okay,
That's all you ever hear. It's not about how good he is. It's about, oh, Jacob Fatu. Yeah, I don't want him over there or wherever he is. I don't know. I'm not gonna watch. He should be in WWE and be with the Bloodline.
yes, I agree with that when we're talking about like casuals and people who don't watch everything. I do agree. I'm talking about companies though.
Yeah,
When everybody's like sign Jacob Fatu, sign like Tony Khan knows who the hell Jacob Fatu is. Triple H knows who Jacob Fatu. Scouts for these bigger companies know who Jacob Fatu is. He's not this secret in the wrestling industry of like never heard of this guy. I feel there's a reason of why he has just been with MLW this whole time. There is a reason, and maybe it is his past and his record and everything. Maybe he's tougher to deal with behind the scenes that we don't know. I don't know. I truly
he
don't,
does
because
have that reputation.
if you're just judging it on, hey, what can you do for me in the ring? There ain't too many people better than Jacob Fatu that have not been in like an AEW or a WWE. Like there's not. But he hasn't been to one of these companies or New Japan, but he hasn't really been on these companies. He's been in MLW those time. Maybe he just has an undying allegiance to Court Bauer. Like maybe that's what it is.
I don't even think it's that, because the way he be talking in interviews, it sounds like he wants to go to WWE, but
He
maybe it
does,
is
yeah.
maybe a reputation thing of why they haven't, made the call or scouted him the way he is. Maybe it's MLW signed him into like a long-term contract, why we haven't heard anything in that regards. But I do like the fact that this MLW New Japan partnership means that we're going to see more of Jacob Fatu on these NJPW strong shows at least, and throw him over for a tour in Japan. I think that he's another guy. I'm telling y'all, Japan loves these talented big men. They love big men in general, but if you talented, oh man, you will be so much bigger in Japan than you are in the US. Just ask Jonah or Bronson Reed.
We had a super chat from Amber. Happy Monday, friends. Some cash for the SP3 Dream Fund. What was your favorite moment from the weekend? Thanks for all that you do. We've talked about New Japan. Let's get into some TNA. TNA Hard to Kill. The TNA rebrand is official. It is back. TNA is officially back. A big weekend for the company, for the brand. Headlined by Moose winning the TNA World Title from Alex Shelley. And then old Dolph, Nic Nemeth was the big surprise. Nic Nemeth has crossed the line. What'd you think of Nic Nemeth coming to TNA SP3 and the show as a whole?
Oh, I really enjoyed this show. I thought that it really kind of TNA Impact Wrestling for like the past 5-6 years have put on very consistent quality shows, whether it be their Impact Plus specials, whether it be their pay-per-views. They always deliver some really good in-ring action. And then you'll have the shows like TNA Hard to Kill that you throw in some angles, some new stories, or a big moment like you get at the end with Nic Nemeth. As far as the main event and what happened at the end of the show, I thought Moose and Alex Shelley lived up to the main event billing and had a really damn good matchup. I thought that the work on Moose's arm was very on point and precise by Alex Shelley, but I thought this was kind of like Moose's match. This is one of his best performances of his career, probably the second best match he's ever had outside of like the match with Josh Alexander at Rebellion 2020. 2. That was probably his best match before this, but this is right up there. Him and Ali Shelley have really good chemistry. Moose getting the win surprised me, but it makes sense for the new era. You want to have a new champion. Moose had previously brought back the TNA Heavyweight Championship, but was never officially recognized as the champion. So him getting the win here, he's a star that they just re-signed as well, so it makes sense. And then he is an instant the top heel for a top babyface to come on in. And I thought Nic Nemeth, they hit it out the park as far as this introduction, as far as his debut, because he has the vibe to me as far as how he was presented here of a Christian Cage coming into TNA back in 2005. And yes, Dolph Ziggler, Nic Nemeth has been a world heavyweight champion, unlike Christian Cage before coming over to TNA in 2005. But Christian Cage in 2005 was a guy that had reached a certain level, but never really reached his potential in WWE. And he was able to do that in TNA. And despite him being a world heavyweight champion, he had one run that lasted, 20 minutes? Another run that lasted about 2 months because he got a concussion. He's never really reached his potential in WWE. And I think that he is off to a hell of a start with debuting in New Japan at Wrestle Kingdom, getting into a whole angle with David Finlay, and then stepping into TNA and immediately coming into the top babyface position. Nic Nemeth is looking like the big kind of free agent or comeback story of 2024 so far.
I'm not putting Nick quite in the Kurt Angle Christian Cage category.
No, I never say Kurt. I never say Kurt Angle.
I know you did. I'm not saying USP3. Don't get defensive here. Scott D'Amore said this when he was hyping things up. I'm not putting him in that category. Kurt Angle, I think, one is just a different level. Christian, the reason why his jump to TNA felt big is because that was his choice. He didn't want to resign with WWE. He wasn't released or anything. It was his contract was up. He's like, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to try to put my stamp on this company. Nick was released. Nick has also been in WWE for 20 years, 2 decades, everything, just doing everything in that company. Christian felt just when he jumped, he hadn't been there. He'd been in WWE for a little while, but he never got to a certain level. Nick got to a level he hadn't been used for a very long time. But there's a little what's the word I'm looking for when it comes to Nick? Fatigue. There's fatigue in that we've seen him for 20 years. It didn't feel like we had that fatigue. And I know it's a different level where Nick hadn't been used. Dolph hadn't been used properly since really he went to NXT and had a nice little run there and everything.
Yeah, that's not to his potential.
No, I agree. But he was at least on television and everything during that run.
Just being on television, I'm sorry. No. That's not reaching your potential. That's just you being on television. NXT Championship is the equivalent of winning the hardcore title in 2000.
That far. He had a main event match against Braun Breaker.
When I was gonna say him winning the World Heavyweight Championship at the time he won it was the equivalent of Christian winning the Intercontinental title before he went to TNA. It wasn't the championship. It wasn't the world title.
I'm saying that was decades ago. That's why I'm saying where it's fatigue. He did that 10 years ago and everything. We've seen Nick in this system for so long that and he's just an older wrestler and everything. There's just fatigue when it comes to him, even though he hasn't been on television. It's just he's been around for a while. And I'm not saying this is a bad thing, mind you. It's not. But I'm just saying this is why I can't quite compare it to Christian, because with Christian, it was, hey, we feel he should be at this higher level, and Christian really bet on himself and left. Nick got released. It's a different situation. Here's why I am a little bit and the final point on Christian compared to Nick, TNA is at a different level. I mean, it's cool. The rebrand is back. The vibes are good there again. TNA was number 2 back in the day. It was maybe a de facto number 2 because there was no other company around, but it was number 2. Yeah. Right now, let's be honest about TNA's place and where they're at. They're definitely not in front of AEW. They're not even really in front of New Japan in America. They're number 4 at best.
They're 4. Yeah. They're definitely. I wouldn't say at best. I think they're definitely 4.
No, at best they're 4th. if you want to, I don't think they're any better than 4. Like they're at best they are 4th. I don't. Some people argue for GCW. I
Nah, that
understand
ended
the argument.
that ended after Hammerstein, honestly.
Yeah, GCW it does
That
feel
that, that
like
yeah,
that.
like that was over. That was over after Hammerstein. They didn't do well. They didn't do well to capitalize on Hammerstein, and I didn't think the execution of Hammerstein was
You
that
can.
well.
I know AEW owns the company, and the ROH stuff is weird. ROH still like sells some pay per views and
Yeah,
everything. Where TNA, and they had a big audience for this past weekend, but a lot of that was just good vibes. Like, how's that going to be 6 months from now? You got to maintain all this. So that's why I can't quite compare Nemeth to Christian and put it quite on that level. But I'll give this to Nick. He feels very rejuvenated. And I think that's the best thing for wrestling and certainly for TNA and really for him, because people who get released from WWE, they go one of 2 ways. They go, WWE was the end all be all. That was my dream. Now I got to like book my own flights and book my own hotels and do my own branding and stuff. And like, they just don't want to do that. It's like, oh, this is a little bit more difficult than I thought it was. This kind of sucks. I don't really feel like doing any of this. Or they get that chip on their shoulder. And I think we're seeing it with Nick. I really think we're seeing it with Mustafa Ali. And they're like, I'm going to go out here. I'm going to have fun again. I'm going to do the stuff that I want to do. And I'm going to try to better every place that I go to. I'm going to get to wrestle these guys who I've never gotten to wrestle. And that's what I think we're seeing with Nick and with Ali. So I do think he's a good shot in the arm for TNA. He seems like he is really rejuvenated and wanting to prove a point, which I think is the biggest part of all of this. And we'll see how it all ends up playing out. Like, I think it's good. I think people need to maybe just temper where Nic Nemeth and where TNA wrestling are on the pedestal of things.
I just think that you gotta ride the hand while it's hot, and right now Nic Nemeth is hot. I think that TNA should strap him up, put the world
They probably
title on.
will.
Put
They
the
honestly
world
probably
title.
will.
Put the world title on him at Rebellion. It should be Nemeth beating Moose at Rebellion. I'm calling it here first.
What? Why are people saying? All right, if you think TNA's third, if you think it's above New Japan, like,
It's not. They're
yeah,
using New Japan. Like if you have to, New Japan is on AEW, it's on TNA. New Japan can go to the buildings, and if you look at both rosters, just line up TNA's roster, line up a New Japan's roster before the addition of a Dolph Ziggler and Nic Nemeth. Who's the biggest stars on either roster? Okada, Ospreay, Naito, Tanahashi. Oh, the top 4 is on New Japan side, so they're number 3. That's how it works, guys.
New Japan is benefited from AEW. I do think there is that because they can put on a Moxley and an Eddie Kingston, and that's going to help with things. And New Japan is also benefited just from the fact that when they do come over here, you don't get a chance to see an Okada, a Naito, a Tanahashi all the time. So it feels like a bigger deal. There are certain benefits for New Japan. If you want to say TNA is the third American company,
yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
It is a distant third, though. A distant people are like when TNA gets a mainstream TV deal, when they get, you gotta remember, they couldn't get a TV deal. Access had to buy them to where they could just put them on television. Like, we got to be honest about where TNA is. Their pay-per-views do less than 10,000. Like, AEW does usually over 100,000 just about every single time. Like, there's a huge difference between where AEW is and where TNA is. I know AEW might feel cold and everything, and they might only do 2,000 to 3,000 for like television and stuff. TNA's only doing 2,000 for their big pay-per-views, if that, for a lot of these shows. I know the this past one did really well, but like, let's see where they're at in like 6 months.
The lowest AEW pay-per-view buy rate of last year was 100,000 buys.
Yeah,
that's what TNA was doing back in 2008, guys. Like when TNA at their height was doing the lowest buy rate that AEW did in 2023. Like, go back and watch the number. Look at the numbers for Lockdown 2008, which is still the biggest buy rate they ever did. It's not that far off from the lowest that AEW did in 2023. So I 100%. This is one thing I won't argue with Jeremy about. Yeah, there is kind of a gap between AEW and TNA, and it's not burying TNA. It's just stating facts.
Yeah, nobody's burying TNA on this. People are just. I think they're trying to put TNA at a higher level, and that's the problem. I think with a lot of fans, not you guys in the chat, we love you guys, but I do see this with a lot of people of like, oh, if you're not competing with WWE, like who really cares? If you're not competing with AEW, who really cares? We can have an honest discussion about where TNA is, and it not be a bad thing.
Yeah,
they have a great place at where they're at in wrestling. The vibes are good. Everything feels good with TNA right now. It feels like good. I'm glad it feels like a big deal.
They are 100% on the rise right now.
Yeah.
Like, you got the addition of Nic Nemeth. TNA Hard to Kill was big. They have seemingly they are kind of, I won't say copying, but kind of like, kind of reflecting off of AEW, where AEW has their main partnership with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and TNA, despite having a partnership with New Japan, they kind of put their feet in the ground at Hard to Kill and made their kind of equivalent to that partnership with AAA. And then right after that, put on the best match of the show, in my opinion, at Hard to Kill with El Hijo del Vikingo, Kushida, and Chris Sabin. And if you're going to have Vikingo more on TNA than AEW, that also helps them go on the rise. Laredo Kid, they got so much talent over at AAA. So if we see more talent from AAA, that's going to be embracing the Lucha Libre side, which is something that AEW has done very well. So they're definitely on the rise, and we're not denying that AEW is cold right now, but let's be honest. Like we have to have honest conversations here. That's what me and Jeremy are trying to have.
AEW has 5 hours of first run programming on national television companies. Impact has, 4 hours if you want to say that Rampage is taped. Like 4 hours of live programming weekly on national television. Impact has 2 hours on Access TV, the company that owns them and had to buy them to make sure they still had a TV.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of scratching my head, because I saw somebody in the chat said all TNA needs to do is get a TV or streaming deal.
Well, Tim says, in my opinion, if TNA was on a mainstream channel, it would do better. It could be hard to find Access TV. It's not on a lot of cable providers. I agree with you. Yes, it would be better if they were on a mainstream channel. Let's be honest about why they're not on a mainstream channere
they're owned by a TV network, guys.
And like, can they even get there when they were the only other wrestling company? Yes, they were on Spike, but then they had to downgrade off that and they went to Pop TV.
No, you forgot. You forgot. We got to go down the chain.
Destination America, is that where they went next?
That was first, and then there was Pop. Because I think I brought this up on Friday when I was talking about when they had the whole period between Destination America and Pop TV, that they did the little promos and they had a world title tournament during that period. I remember that vividly.
Here's what people honestly just got to accept. Again, it's okay if like they're not direct competitors. They have their place, and that is fine, because I think when you try to be a direct competitor, that's when you realize, oh, this isn't what it needs to be. That's what happened to TNA. That's why TNA ended up being where they ended up being, because they're like, oh, we got Hulk Hogan, we got Eric Bischoff, we can compete with WWE, and then they got slaughtered. And then it was like, oh, now they came off very second rate.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. You don't want to come off second rate. So it's okay if you just carve out a nice spot for yourself and you rise off of that momentum. And maybe based on that, you can be a competitor. But just trying to jump into, oh, we got this one person, let's compete. No, what are we doing?
That's not how this works. It didn't work in 2010. It's not going to work in 2024. They just need to keep doing what they doing. TNA came from basically in the dirt in like 2017. Remember when Jeff Jarrett came in and just wiped the company and made it Global Force Wrestling? Yo, they went from TNA Impact being dead in the dirt, and they had to rise themselves. They reformed the management and the regime with Don Callis coming in and Scott D'Amore coming in, and that slow and steady, just having great shows, having good storylines, making new stars like your Sammy Callahans, like your Eddie Edwards. They just kept going up. Your LAX, your Lucha Bros. Like, it kept giving you reasons to watch because they were creating new stars or bringing new stars in, like your Taya Valkyrie. They had that whole relationship with Lucha Underground that really helped them at that time, and they just kept having good shows, kept putting on good stuff even through the pandemic, and that's why we're at this point where they're able to be TNA again, and we got people excited and wanting them to become number 2 again. So we got to realize that slow and steady is the race, and we can't expect TNA to become number 2 tomorrow or become number 2 soon. That's not going to happen. That's not how this works.
Yeah. And bless Nic Nemeth, he's going to help them. He's not going to propel them to compete immediately with AEW or WWE or anything. Just enjoy the good vibes TNA has right now. Don't try to make it more than it needs to be. They're doing well. The TNA Hard to Kill was a great show. I like the stuff that they set up at the TV tapings. I am very curious to see how the tapings play out and everything, because I think they hurt their own momentum by just having no real build to Hard to Kill. But okay, they reset things, and now we'll see.
They reset things very well from like the start, because they did that whole thing on the pre-show with the system. The new top they got a new.
Why wasn't my man D'Angelo Williams doing a little bit more?
Yo, come on! Why you ain't put D'Angelo in the ring? He could have done some spots. He could have done some leapfrogs. You ain't seen D'Angelo. D'Angelo Williams, the best football player turned wrestler of all time. You heard it here first. Sorry, Roman Reigns. Sorry, Goldberg. Move over. It's D'Angelo Williams. But they should have put him in the ring. But I like the system. I like all these guys. I was like, I've been able to interview Eddie Edwards twice. I interviewed Brian Myers. He's my New York brother, and we both had illegal cable boxes. That's how we first discovered TNA, the both of us, because we weren't paying $10 a week. No. We weren't paying $10 a week in New York. And Moose, I think that he's someone that TNA has, he had one of the better heavyweight championship runs, the Impact World title run that he had a few years ago. And I think that he's someone that they can build around as the top heel. So I like the system as a group. And then you got Nic Nemeth coming in. So you have a new top storyline. You got a new Knockouts champion with Jordynne Grace and Trinity. I thought that was one of Trinity's better matches too of her career.
Yeah, that was a great match. The finish, because we know what we know, not fully in doubt there, but it looks like, spoiler alert, they're gonna have a rematch on television at some point soon. So we'll
I just like the fact it was different from all our other matches, where it just felt like Trinity and TNA, she was always just faster or more technically proficient on the mat as far as her submission work to beat everybody, even if it was someone who's a technical wizard like Deonna Purrazzo. And in this match, she was just completely overwhelmed by the strength of Jordynne Grace. And that alley-oop, when she flipped her over her head, like the old Big Show finisher, the alley-oop, oh my God. And Trinity fell on her face. I replayed that back like 3-4 times.
And embraced after the match. It was a good showing for Grace and Trinity, and Giselle Shaw won Knockouts Ultimate X to set up her getting a title shot now. It was a good show by TNA, and we'll see how they incorporate guys like Josh Alexander, him beating Hammerstone. He's facing Ospreay, which I assume will air on TNA television. That happened at Snake Eyes. Okada teaming with Machine Guns also happened on Snake Eyes. We'll see how this plays into their upcoming tapings and how it works on things. I'm looking forward to what they end up doing on these tapings.
Hammerstone was the other guy outside of Fatu who
Hammerstone
said, "I'm getting my check. I'm getting this contract." Oh my God, that was a great hoss fight. Great. I thought that he showed out. He looked in incredible shape, and him and Josh Alexander just hit big move after big, that slam on the apron that hurt my back. Oh my God. Like I thought Hammerstone did a great job of being like, TNA, y'all should probably sign me.
Yeah, I don't know what Hammerstone wants to do. I mean, he got that really good promo when he was a free agent of like, oh, everyone thinks I was just a big fish in a small pond. Like, nah, I'm a shark. And like, if you guys want some, like, I'm here. Put the open challenge out to anybody. Then everyone, myself included, was surprised where when Alexander answered the challenge and then Hammerstone was going to come to TNA. If Hammerstone wants to sign with TNA, I think that'd be a big get for them. If he decides like, oh, I'm going to see what WWE might have to offer, I think that'd be good for them. He'd be good in AEW. I worry with AEW and with WWE of getting lost in the shuffle with things because they have so much talent already to where trying to fit in more can be difficult, especially if it is not like a top name, like a big free agent. And this is no knock on Hammerstone. He is, again, let's be honest about a conversation of where he has been. As much as we like Hammerstone, he's been an MLW guy, and MLW has the reach that they have. So I don't know how much they would invest fully in him, but I think he gets over wherever he goes. I would like him in TNA. I think that would be a very good investment for TNA and a very good way for him to continue to bet on himself and to continue to rise. I know he's not a young guy, and I think he's not super old either. Let's see, how old is Hammerstone?
I think he's in his 30s.
Yeah, he's 32. He's got that 32
he's
might as
young.
well be 22.
He's young now. Yeah, he's young for wrestling years.
Exactly.
When you got the stars on the rise in WWE is LA Knight and Damian Priest at 40 years old. Yeah, 32. That's young right now.
Yeah, exactly. So he can take maybe a year or so in TNA to really continue to build things up and then maybe make a jump to an AEW or WWE. We'll see what Hammerstone wants. I'm looking forward to more of his run on the independent scene. And yeah, look, if he was out to get a check, to get a contract, I don't think there's any doubt that he deserved it after that Josh Alexander match. So we'll see what happens on there. Nope. Anything else from TNA stand out to you?
That was one of the better matches on the show. I really like the 4-way for the tag team titles. I wish that GYV could have got that same showcase that that Hammerstone got, but it's very hard in the 4-way matchup because you want to give everybody a chance to shine, and I think they did that in a good way in the matchup. And I like it coming down to ABC and the Rascals, and that finishing sequence was on point. Chef's kiss. That was great.
It's a great show by TNA. Now they got to do television, and now they got to keep the momentum up because how many times when it comes to TNA, how many times pay-per-view was great, and then nobody watches the TV, and then they just get lost in the shuffle. And this is the problem. And again, this is why we got to have honest conversations about this of TNA when there is so much wrestling on, when there is WWE and AEW dominate national television, TNA just gets lost in there. And what can you do to make sure people are still tuning in and still paying attention to you?
It's very difficult, and especially in 2024 when the WWE and AEW are the top 2 promotions in the world. It seems like even across everything. Like in Japan, they have their number 1 in New Japan, but everybody knows WWE and AEW there. In Mexico, number 1 would be AAA, but everybody knows WWE and AEW there. And they have the 12 hours of weekly television without any pay-per-views or premium live events going on. They have 12 hours of television. Sometimes AEW will throw in an extra hour like they did this week with Battle of the Belts. That is 13 hours. 13 hours I watched of WWE and AEW this week. Then you added on a 4-hour New Japan show, who they are, like we said, we keep saying they are kind of the number 3 because there is a gap between AEW and TNA. And I feel like New Japan kind of fills that because they are kind of the bridge between both of those companies, because both of those companies are being helped by New Japan. So they're number 3 for me, and they had a 4-hour show. And then you had TNA. They had a 4-hour show themselves. And MLW, I don't even get time anymore to watch your MLWs. GCW,
MLW is only an hour. Bless it. Love it.
bless it, bless
Love
it. But
it.
it's very hard. I'm gonna try to figure out a way to squeeze that into the schedule, because then you got sometimes Stardom has big shows, and GCW had Mustafa Ali and Gringo Loco this weekend. Like there's stuff to watch all across wrestling. You can't go wrong. Ring of Honor, yeah, I call it the Converse. You've been on True Hill. The Converse is what? Because there's be like 2 hours of Ring of Honor this week. Why? I don't know. I don't know why this show needs to be 2 hours. It does not need to be 2 hours.
I wish there was a regimented format with ROH. If you just told me every week, all right, it's going to be 90 minutes, I'd be okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like 2 hours, sometimes it's 2.5, sometimes it's like 3. It's like
one time it was like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, we can't get any type of consistency with this show because you just throw everyone on this show. Like, it's just like, dude, like, can we just tell a few stories on the show, build some people up? You could do a 10-match card and get it done in 90 minutes.
I mean, maybe. Then you're still looking at like a bunch. I wish ROH was just more condensed, focus on 3 or 4 things to build to a pay-per-view. And then half the time your pay-per-views are like, hey, which AEW person is available that we can put on this card? Anyway, just give me 3 or 4 focus things when it comes the titles, basically. Just give me the focus on titles and then build to those. And then the rest of your ROH card, you're going to fill out with AEW people anyway. So just do that. And I'd be okay with it.
And it doesn't help that it seems like Tony Khan did not learn his lesson, and we're about to put the Ring of Honor titles on a AEW act again.
Well, I mean, Eddie's the Ring of Honor champion, technically.
Yeah, that's fine, because I think that they can do that where they're building someone on Ring of Honor and Eddie can come in and thirst that guy on the pay-per-view. That's all fine and dandy. But what is the reason why we're doing Mogul Embassy versus Bullet Club Gold? Like, we just did Mogul Embassy dropping the titles to an AEW act who did absolutely nothing with those titles. They put the titles back on them because Mogul Embassy is the only one who seems to be that can be on AEW television, but still work Ring of Honor television at the same time, or at least enough that they are a presence on the television. And now you're about to do it again, and you're going to put it on Bullet Club Gold? And like, how am I supposed to defend the booking of Jay White when his first title he's winning is the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team titles? Like, the most devalued, non-prestigious Ring of Honor titles. Like, unless this is leading to the ROH 6-man titles versus trios titles, hopefully that is the point of all of this, so we can be done doing trios in both companies and we can just have one trio champions in both. That's all fine and dandy to me. But man, I could not agree with the booking of that. I was like, wait, what? I mean, I'm all great for Nana to get some mic time. That's great. That was great that's how we set it up. But I was like, when did Bullet Club Gold mention the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team title? Because that's what Nana said. He said they mentioned the Ring of Honor 6. I was like, they didn't mention that.
He said something about just 6 men. So like,
yeah, he said like maybe trios titles. He never said Ring of Honor. He never said ROH. Those letters never came out of his mouth.
Look, I'm with you. I hope that the trios titles merge with together, the 6-man ROH and the trios title AEW. They should merge a lot of these titles. There's a lot of I've beaten the keep the brands separate, keep the titles separate. I'm not going down that path again. I'll give credit here. At least there wasn't an ROH title match on Battle of the Belts. It was actually all AEW titles on Battle of the Belts. Granted, we still don't get title changes on this show. Granted,
that street fight was nice. That street fight, they worked that night. Sammy is great in those type of settings, and Ricky's great in those type of settings.
I'm super happy that the Don Callis Chris Jericho feud is continuing based on this street fight. That's all I got out of this street fight. I didn't great performance by Ricky, Bill, Sammy. All I got was, we're going to continue Don Callis and Chris Jericho. 2 losing teams by the way, to street fight losers because Hobbs and Takeshita lost in a street fight to Sting and Darby. So a couple of losers feuding in a losing feud. Awesome. Looking forward to it. That's all I got. Hey, go. Hey, Paul Driver finisher. You're like, yeah, now we're just accepting it. Look, man, sometimes you just gotta accept things.
Yeah,
right?
you gotta accept things, but I do agree with you that the fact that coming out of that matchup that they set up a rivalry for Jericho and Sammy and not Ricky and Bill, it was just like, okay, so what's Ricky and Bill gonna do now? Because they won, and it seems like you have a story for the losers, but you don't have a story for the winners. And all of this just keeps bringing me back to the point of, man, FTR, y'all really didn't want to lose to the Bucks in California.
FTR is now in trios. They're going after trios titles. It seems they're teaming with Garcia, which is great. I like that. I like that team.
Yeah, I do too. That was a tremendous match. I thought that was excellent work from all the guys involved. I actually will take that match over the FTR House of Black tag team matchup, which I also thought was an excellent matchup, but I thought this was better.
Same. I don't know where the tag division is, honestly, because largely those belts live on Collision. Ricky and Bill haven't been on Dynamite. I guess Ricky did lose to Sammy on Dynamite, but before the Homecoming stuff, they were just always on Collision. And then the rest of the tag division, FTR has been doing trio stuff, feuding with House of Black. That's now
and that's
even
the
more
the main event program on Collision.
Yeah, that's even more trios. Hassan probably has it right. Is Ricky and Bill losing the titles to Bucks or Sting and Darby?
That should have been happening.
Yeah, I've been harping on like why aren't Sting and Darby getting a title shot? Like they should.
I said the Bucks should have beat Ricky and Bill at Full Gear. If FTR didn't want to drop it to the Bucks at California, then sorry, Ricky and Bill. Since they gave it to you to do the honors, you just gonna be transitional champions. It's just about getting Ricky another accomplishment. That's all this run has been for, honestly.
I wonder what the plan was with Jericho and Kenny, because obviously that had to change. Were Jericho and Kenny gonna win those titles?
No, I think that we would have got the same finish.
And then the Bucks beat Ricky and Bill. Like,
I mean, that's what you should have done. But now I would do Sting and Darby beating them.
I would do Sting and Darby as well because it makes no sense. I guess maybe the Bucks can win a match, and it's like, well, they've won their last one. They get a title match. No. Like they lost to Jericho and Kenny to lose their title shot. They had a guaranteed title shot whenever they won, and then they put that on the line against Jericho and Kenny. Yeah, I know Kenny's health. It changed some things there, but it also seems like they just changed some things to change some things. Yeah, I'd put the titles on Sting and Darby, and then I would do Bucks. Bucks should probably get a couple of victories, but look, if Sting wants it as the last match, he wants it as the last match. But this is the hilarious part of Tony saying records matter and all of this thing. It's like, oh, the Bucks are just going to get a tag team title match off of this, even though they lost. Well, we shall see when it comes to that.
Yeah, you just have the Bucks beat Jericho and Sammy on TV.
Good, I'm fine with that. Based on Don Callis interference, obviously, because God forbid we just do a clean finish there. Wilson says, I don't want to see Jay White as ROH as Trios champs. What's going on is I thought they were going after the Adam Cole faction. I think everybody thought they were going to team up to go after Adam Cole and Undisputed Kingdom. And then all of a sudden they're more concerned with the Mogul Embassy and everything. Like, why aren't they going after the team that attacked them, that took them out? Shouldn't that be the point?
It's just scratching. Like there was like two kind of this week. One would have been when Renee is interviewing Bullet Club Gold. She says that Tony Khan has said they are banned from attacking Undisputed Kingdom. It's just one little line you just add that's just
so,
or but it's so like minor, but it does add a lot.
No.
There's a reason.
I agree. One, I do agree with you of like, if you're going to, why wouldn't they attack it? Throw it in there. So it makes sense. I think that would have been stupid though, because why does Tony Khan give a shit if they go attack the Devil's group? Because who was attacking everybody?
That means that Cole was right. That Tony Khan is thanking him for getting rid of MJF.
All right. You know what? That actually explains it pretty well. I actually don't mind that, because otherwise I think it would be very dumb to be like, why does Tony Khan care if this group that took over his show for months, but then that puts too much.
Save the title.
Yeah, that puts a little bit too much heat on Tony Khan for me.
No, it's a minor line. Like, some people would, only us that analyze and watch the show to review it and talk about it would pick up on that line. Most casual viewers would just let it. It's a throwaway line. It's no heat on Tony Khan. The other little addition that I would have done that also could have helped this, with even without the line, is have Undisputed Kingdom not in a matchup on Dynamite, but in the crowd at Daly's place, like up top. And they're watching Orange Cassidy in that 8-man tag because Roddy's going after the international title. And there's in the crowd, they show him in the crowd watching Samoa Joe's promo. Because one of the big kind of omissions during that whole promo is that you threw Hook out there, you threw Swerve out there, you threw Hangman out there. All these people that have already mentioned that they're coming after Joe and his title. There's one guy who you said is going after Joe and his title that didn't show up, and that was Wardlow. If you have him in the crowd, that fixes all of that. And you still could have told the story of Wardlow with the hoodie and the hair being kind of disconnect from the group, but you just showed them in the crowd. You don't need the same promo from last week, and you don't need Brian Keith versus Roderick Strong. You could have had that on Rampage.
You mentioned that on Friday, and I really like that idea of them watching from the crowd instead of doing what they ended up doing, which was cutting the same promo that they cut the week prior. I get, okay, that you throw the line in there of like, Tony Khan says you can't attack these people. I think it makes more sense if they're in the crowd, and then it's a little bit more difficult to get to them a little bit. Have them have some security and shit if need be, but at least do something, because otherwise I think now Acclaimed and Bullet Club Gold just look like dorks, and now they're just going off and feuding with a lesser title instead of going after the people who took them out and cost them stuff. So it's minor things. I get it. Like, I understand why people might be think like, oh, we're too harsh, we're nitpicking and stuff. One, this is what turned off a lot of viewers to WWE before the pandemic and everything, and then even during the pandemic, is a lot of minor things of like, you're not rewarding your audience for paying attention. You're just doing dumb shit to do it, and people are tuning out because of that. And this was the thing AEW was always very good at, is rewarding the minor details. Two, this is what made a lot of people tune out of WCW as well, is it was just a lot of nonsense of like, why is this person now going after this person? That makes no sense. And it's like, oh, well, this is just what they're going to do. Like, you got to reward viewers for these minor things. Because if you're just going to throw random stuff at it, it's like, well, why do I need to pay attention every week? Nothing is going to make sense. Nothing is going to matter fully. So I can just tune in a month from now and be fine. It's like, I didn't miss anything a month from now. And I'm not saying AEW does this to a totality. Like, WWE definitely used to do this. It would be just like, oh yeah, I don't need to pay attention to the main show at all. I'll just watch the pay-per-views. The video packages will do a better job recapping anything than watching weekly. And the video package will actually make some sense too. Say, okay, cool, I'm excited for this. You don't want that. You want people to tune in weekly. And people are more likely to tune in weekly if you reward them for tuning in weekly, instead of just like, oh, I missed a week. What I missed? Nothing. A cool match. Okay, fine. Like, I missed a cool match. I can go back and watch the cool match. You want them to tune in for the weekly episodic stuff when it comes to this. Battle of the Belts, a throwaway show, as it always is. I hope people are excited for more Jericho and Sammy against the Don Callis family, because that's about the only thing that was set up.
I just thought, like, in general, I thought this was a better kind of card that they had for Battle of the Belts, because you had Jericho on there, you had an AEW, and you know, despite but
that's like
about Jericho, he is a big name. That's a bigger name than most that they put on Battle of the Belts.
I'm with you, is that it felt bigger because of that match. Julia Hart and Anna Jay.
But Julia Hart is the star, and Orange Cassidy is the star.
But neither of those matches felt like they were ever in doubt.
No.
Though. And that's my issue with Battle of the Belts. I did like the setup at the end where Roderick is standing over Orange Cassidy and the Undisputed Kingdom is there and everything. I did like that. But none of these matches, again, felt like they were the tag team match a little bit, because like, okay, maybe Jericho and Sammy, just because Jericho is Jericho, and they obviously
I really
think very
enjoyed.
highly of
I
Sammy.
thought that was a really fun matchup.
It
I
was.
love Sammy getting behind the wheel of the golf cart. Finally, 4 year, the long-term storytelling, ladies and gentlemen, where Sammy finally behind the wheel of the golf cart and running down Ricky and Big Bill. Sammy running up the wall in the hallway. That was a great spot. His dive, his senton off the structure in the building was great. The big power bomb by Big Bill after Takeshita cracked Jericho. Takeshita was like all the fans that hate Jericho and boo him and just cracked him over the head with that kendo stick. I was like, God damn. And then he hit him with that power bomb. So I thought that was really fun. That was worth, if there's anything worth watching on either, honestly, on either Battle of the Belts or Collision, you watch the main event of Collision into the opener of Battle of the Belts. You don't need to watch anything else from the show.
Yeah. But in Battle of the Belts felt like a inconsequential show, as it typically has been, honestly. And Collision was fine.
It was like I had it on my screen. Like I did the Jeremy Lambert setup of multiple screens for Saturday with Battle in the Valley. Hard to Kill got the big screen privileges until it was over, and then Battle of the Valley took over. But I had Collision on one of my laptops, and it just like the opener was good with Lee Moriarty and Adam Copeland. I thought that was a nice little opener, but it just felt like nothing happened until Hangman came out after that. Like nothing happened for like a good hour until Hangman and JD Drake had a good matchup, and then they ended with and I'm sorry, and I feel like I'm picking on this guy. But I really am a fan of you. All right, I'm really a fan of you. Grew up watching you. You used to scare me. The whole angle where you gave mouth-to-mouth resuscitation to Ahman Johnson is one of the best heel angles that I saw as a kid. I've enjoyed you for years. I've enjoyed you in AEW. Your match with Cody is a top 5 in AEW history. You've even come in and had good to great matches with Bryan Danielson, CM Punk. But I don't know. Ever since AEW World's End, whenever Dustin Rhodes comes out, I'm just like, oh, here he goes again.
Well, he's not.
He
doesn't do anything of.
But yo, he came out, and I was like, yo, you just defined this show feels like Rampage now. We got Dustin Rhodes versus Willie Mack. What are we watching? Ring of Honor?
It is. This is where Tony shouldn't tweet. And I don't mind it. I truly don't. I think there's a lot of bad faith arguments of where Tony, I read that dumb article this weekend of like, this would never fly in the NBA or the NFL. NFL owners are throwing drinks on fans. Mark Cuban gets into a media battle with anybody and everybody like on a monthly basis. Like, it happens. And again, wrestling is way more closer to the structure and the perception than MMA, where Dana White is, doing Dana White things. Here's where the Tony tweeting thing is a little like, because he wants to point out records. Why is Jinder getting this title shot and he hasn't won a singles match in however long and everything? And like, he's right. I don't think he's wrong about this. Yeah. It's like, it's a double standard when it comes to Hook and all this stuff. He's right about this. Dustin Rhodes, his last 3 singles matches, 1 and 2, got a win over Willie Mack, who I'm pretty sure has never won a singles match on AEW television. No. And it's like, you get a TNT title shot now. Like, okay, but
because he has a dead father. I'm sorry. We got Christian, and that was the first time since World's End that I enjoyed something with Dustin Rhodes, and all it needed was Christian to be like, oh yeah, your father was a wrestling legend. It's like, too bad we can't say the same about you. I was like, that's messed up. That's messed up, Christian. I was like, I'm mean. I feel like I'm getting mean with Dustin Rhodes because he really pissed me. That Swerve Dustin Rhodes matchup, man. I'm really into this Swerve push, and I'm saying Swerve gonna be the next AEW World Champion. But you can't go 10 minutes with a guy with a one ankle. You just busted his ankle with a cinder block. He goes 10 minutes.
Hey,
I thought that booking was horrible.
Fuck you if you don't like that match, SP3.
Horrible. No, you complain. This man's complaining about kickouts. About kickouts of the Death Rider. Everyone kicks out of the Death Rider, but he's not complaining about Swerve Strickland, the hottest star in AEW, going 10 minutes with a 54-year-old on one ankle. That he busted his ankle.
SP3, you know why I said fuck you.
I know.
For not liking that match. You know why I said it. That was Dustin Rhodes' response.
I know. You made me look it up.
No, I didn't even make you look it up. I screenshot it.
No. But I had to. Even when you screenshot it for me, I was like, I'm gonna look this up.
Yeah.
Just to see.
But this is where I think Tony's tweets get him in trouble. Is the actual substance of the tweet is like, wait, you want to cite records? Okay, well, how come Sting and Darby don't have a title shot when they've literally won every tag match they've been in? Why is Dustin Rhodes getting this title match when, okay, he beat Willie Mack, literally never won a match on AEW television? He's won some ROH matches, never won an AEW match. So why is Dustin getting this title shot when we just saw him lose to Swerve Strickland? That's where your tweets kind of get you in trouble, is like, when people actually look at the substance of your tweet more than just like, oh, you're going to fly off and just do a bunch of tweets, which I think are hilarious. But like, there is actually an argument to be made against. And then, of course, people are going to bring up, wait a second, you want to talk about misconduct, but then you're going to Ric Flair. It's like, didn't you say this? Like, that's where people are going to poke holes in your tweets and everything. I got no use for a Dustin Rhodes revival. That Swerve match at World's End did nothing for me. Absolutely nothing. He should have destroyed his leg with a cinder block. Dustin should have tried to be fighting through it, and he should have kicked in the head once, and that should have been the end of that match. That should have been it. Should have been no fighting spirits of like, let's kick out and let's actually get some offense in. Let's have Dustin show he has heart by even wanting to do the match, and let's show he's an idiot for doing that, and Swerve is a cold-blooded killer and just put him down immediately. That should have been that. So, but Dustin's going to get a title shot. Cool.
Hey, he's gonna if he loses to Christian, this is all fine and dandy.
Well, he's gonna lose to Christian. They ain't putting this title on Dustin.
I would hope not, but I've been surprised before, so I'm not gonna say it's a foregone conclusion quite yet, but that's what I'm hopeful for, and I think it will be a good matchup. These two guys are professionals of decades upon decades in the business. I think they'll have a good matchup, and it will further, probably post-match, we'll get some development in the Christian Cage, Adam Copeland story.
I don't care about that story at all.
Why not? He's starting from the bottom. Now he's here.
Don't care. I'm glad Copeland is beating a bunch of dudes who are never on television and will never be on television again. I do not care about this story.
I actually liked what they did with Lee Moriarty this week. I thought that the presentation of the Adam Copeland Open Challenge was much better this week than
last. I agree. What are they going to do with Moriarty moving forward? Are we going to see him on TV again?
Yes.
I hope so. I hope you're right. I hope he gets
TV on Honor Club.
Yeah, ROH TV, exactly. I hope he gets something out of this. I hope Griff Garrison maybe kind of sort of gets something out of this. They have proven to me with these open challenges, because FTR, remember when FTR did their open challenge for like 2 weeks and people were like, oh, cool, we're getting FTR Workhorsemen. This rules. What happened to the Workhorsemen after that? Never on TV.
Nothing.
Like, this is what happens with these open challenges. Not since Cody. Cody did it and actually got people jobs. Everyone else who has done these open challenges, they've been on TV, they've gotten beat, and then we don't see them again for weeks and months.
No, I think they've done other good open challenges. I think that Darby's at the beginning of last year when he was TNT champion, that actually was one of the better TNT title reigns, and that helped revive the title and was a nice little kind of interlude in between the second and third matchup between him and Samoa Joe. I thought that was very well, and the matchup that he had with Mike Bennett, I think that was one of the first times that Tony Khan was like, let me start using the Kingdom more. Anytime someone has a good match and then they're used better throughout the year, I always go back to the first good matchup that they had that Tony Khan was probably like, I'm going to start using them for this story. And I think that was it for Mike Bennett. So that was beneficial outside of that. And then Orange Cassidy's international championship run, we saw various people who got more opportunities because they went through with Orange Cassidy. And of course, the big one is Swerve Strickland with that final two in the Battle Royal at Double or Nothing. And then the great matchup that they had on Dynamite, Swerve Strickland went up and up and up the ladder after that. So can't say that Cody's the only one that open challenge that was beneficial to not only just him, but to other people.
Swerve was a former tag team champion. He had been on television. He'd had plans. That was maybe a big singles breakout.
Dude,
for him
he was
on TV.
Not where he needed to be, though. He was involved in that whole rivalry with Keith Lee that they didn't want to do the singles.
That's their own fault, though. That's their own dumb fault for not booking that match when they had the chance. I'm not giving them credit for not booking that match to elevate Swerve then, and then cooling off Swerve, and then being like, oh, Orange Cassidy, this open challenge actually worked. No, you could have done this months ago when you did the Swerve, when you did the Keith Lee stuff, and you didn't. That's their own fault.
No, I give them credit.
No,
you deserve credit.
Credit for that.
You deserve credit. You deserve credit. I'll give you credit for that.
No, the open challenges.
I'm giving that to Orange Cassidy.
I like Orange Cassidy, but for the most part, the open challenges are if they face somebody who's had like established TV. Swerve again had been on television. Like it's not the same as Griff Garrison, who's never on TV. The Workhorseman, never on TV. Lee Moriarty hasn't been on TV in forever. Wasn't Moriarty part of the Firm?
Remember when Lee Moriarty was first mentioned when they created the Blackpool Combat Club and they got everybody hyped?
Yeah, that should have happened too.
Yes, it should. Why did they? The whole point of the Blackpool Combat Club was supposed to be training the youth. You just stopped at the one youth. You just how you start? How did Professor Xavier start a school for me?
Oh, I don't know if this is mine or his. It's not popping up for me. I think this is SP3's. Chat, please confirm if this is SP3. The X-Men eraser. The X-Men references are like, nope, we're not doing it. Yeah, all right, it is SP3. Oh, poor SP3. Just getting cut off twice on this show. My God. All right, a couple of super chats. Kaden says, I need a soft brand split again. Well, we need someone with the balls of CM Punk to come out and say this person is banned from this show. Where's Danielson? Danielson needs to come out and say, nope, this person's not allowed on my show. That's what needs to happen. Will Chisholm, Tony Khan, where's Thunder Rosa? Push the Thunder. Should have come out after Julia Hart's match. And she wrestled the Daily's Place match, and that was kind of it with Thunder Rosa. I agree. I don't know why Thunder Rosa isn't coming out and being like, I never lost the world title, much less the TBS title. I never lost that title. Why shouldn't she be involved in the world title picture? I don't know. She should be. She should be going after that. If she loses, she loses. But that should be her goal. I know that things have changed in a year, but this is, again, rewarding an audience for paying attention, rewarding an audience for what has happened. She never lost the title. Weissel was saying, I feel like Thunder's getting in ring shape. That's fine. That's fine. I'm not saying she has to get the title. I'm not saying she has to get an immediate title match. All I want is her saying, like, I'm coming after that title. And then if Toni Storm is like, back of the line, I don't know who you are. Like, this was 3 characters ago for me. What is a Thunder Rosa? What's a Thunder to a Storm? Like, then fine. She can get into ring shape through that by working that matches on her way back. I just need a reference to it. We don't even have a reference. That's where the disconnect is for me. We'll see if Thunder Rosa at some point references that she was a former world champion and never actually lost the title in the ring. I think it's something with the women against Thunder. I think that's settled. Yeah, exactly. Tony doesn't know anyone in the division. Have Tony dismiss it. I'm completely fine with that. But Thunder Rosa should not dismiss it like it never, like her run never happened. And Storm dismissing it makes sense. And that's how you can delay the match, is Tony Storm is dismissing everything. But Thunder Rosa not referencing it doesn't make any sense to me. It's just my thoughts. So Collision happened, and then we had Battle of the Belts. AEW is looking forward to a strong week of television, I'm sure, with Dynamite coming up on Wednesday. But before we get to Dynamite, where Hook gets his title shot, we will get Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal gets his title shot tonight on WWE Raw. SP3 has apologized for his internet going out. If he comes back on, we will obviously get SP3's thoughts on Raw and go from there. But Raw tonight, Jinder Mahal gets his title shot against Seth Rollins. I think they are going to go all out to have a great match. Will it be a great match? I'm sure a large section of WWE fans will be like, yeah, this is awesome. Justified, this is awesome chance for Jinder Mahal and Seth Rollins. It'll probably be one of the best Jinder Mahal matches we've ever seen, because Seth Rollins is a very good professional wrestler. I'm not interested in the match. I don't care about Jinder Mahal and him still being the Don't Hinder Jinder former world champion. Give me my opportunity. Man, I hope you're wrong, Pile Driver finisher. I know Joel tried to pitch like Jinder wins or they do a DQ. So they do Jinder and Seth for the title at 2024 or at Rumble. Ugh. Honestly, as a fan of chaos, you know what? Screw it. Put the title on Jinder. Who cares? Put the title on Jinder and then tout that Jinder draws bigger ratings than everybody in AEW. Just do it. SP3, you left for your X-Men. The X-Men got to you.
I know, man. Like every time I'm start cooking, like they just turn off my fire. They just turn off the gas when I'm starting to cook.
Too much smoke. You gotta go smokeless. SP3.
I gotta go smokeless.
True Heel Heat Award, multi-time award winner Snoop Dogg.
They turned off the heat on my stove. Like I'm talking. I did a great analogy of the Blackpool Combat Club to X-Men. I'm trying to get a Marvel check for Fightful to promote the new X-Men series about how Professor Xavier only recruiting one student for the Mutant Academy, like Wheeler Yuta. Like, how you stop at Wheeler Yuta? That's like Professor Xavier stopping at Iceman or Pyro. Like, what?
I liked your analogy when it came to the X-Men and Blackpool Combat Club. I don't think Blackpool Combat Club, as much as I love Danielson, everyone knows how much I love Danielson. I love Moxley, love Claudio. Wheeler's okay. As much as I love the group and the concept of the group, I don't think this has been like a fleshed out idea that it could have been, honestly. Like, it's just like it's dudes being dudes, which is cool, awesome. But like, I think it could have been so much more, and they told you what it could have been. They literally set it up for you, and then you didn't really do anything with it. It's honestly a shame. It is.
It really could have been so much more. Like, we could have had Danny Garcia join up during that whole JAS storyline. We could have had. It would have been a great part.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. We know why. We know
Yeah,
why that didn't happen.
we know why, but I'm just saying that could have been a part of this story. Even if you weren't going to do that, Lee Moriarty joining part. Lee Moriarty's been nothing a part of this story. Like, that's the crazy part. Like, he was mentioned during that original promo by Danielson, yet he has not been a part of this storyline since like one match that he had with Danielson in the first like few months of this whole story. And it's just like, that's a missed opportunity by far.
We got Raw tonight, SP3. Before you pop back on, I was talking about gender and how they should just put the title on him because screw it. Who cares?
Hey,
put
he's
the
big
title
name
on
right
him.
now.
Yeah, put the title on him. And then next week, have him cut a promo, do a big celebration. Be like, I get bigger ratings than anybody on Wednesday, anybody on Saturday, any day of the week on USA Network. I get the biggest ratings. That's what I would do. Just go for it.
Just go full on troll.
Yeah.
Just what you want.
Yeah. Why not?
I mean, I'm always for chaos.
I'm not saying he's got to be a long-term champion. He shouldn't go into WrestleMania with a title or anything, but you got Rumble coming up. Just do a Seth and Jinder rematch at Rumble, and then Seth can win it back. It's fine. Give Jinder a week and a half reign.
I saw people calling for that with Drew McIntyre.
Oh, I pitched that for Drew. I wanted Drew to win, and then he loses it back at Rumble. Like, I thought that was a story that made sense, honestly, because then Drew can. He had a gripe of like, oh, he won it, he got it in front of fans and stuff, but the reign was less than a month, and like then he gets mad about that of like, I was screwed over in the rematch, like you got an automatic rematch, which I never got, blah, 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 whatever the story might be. But like, there was a story there for Drew to win it. Is SP3 frozen again, or is he like looking? He's got a great look to it. He must be frozen again. Oh, poor SP3. Poor SP3. All right, well, that was a story there with Drew. Jinder, there's no real story of him winning the title and then losing it in 2 weeks to Seth. The story is just pop the online dorks. Oh, wait, I heard you. Oh, I heard SP3 for a second. He came through for a second. Am I frozen? Who is frozen, everybody? I usually get the little spinny wheel. So it's got to be SP3. But he did come through second. But the chat, I don't know. I don't know what's happening here. Chat, somebody, once again, we have to rely on the chat to know who's right. Okay, it is SP3 again. He's patiently agreeing. Oh, boy. All right, it's SP3 again. I thought so. Usually, like, I know when it is me, and it connects it pretty quickly. Oh, poor SP3, man. The internet is just not being kind to him. Very sad. What can you do? All right, so we all agree Jinder Mahal should win tonight, right? We're all in agreement. Everybody in the chat, leave a gender in the chat. Leave a gender. Yeah, this is what happens when you shut talk Iceman. You get frozen. Leave a gender in the chat, everybody, to support the modern day Maharaja Jinder Mahal to win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship female. I like that. That's a good shout. Good shout. To strap up the modern day Maharaja Jinder Mahal tonight on WWE Raw to defeat Seth Rollins. That's what happens. We all agree. Nothing else is going to happen on Raw. Who could possibly care? Judgment Days and some tag team matches. One match against DIY, another match against Awesome Truth. We'll see what happens there. I assume Awesome Truth is just going to like win, and then they get a tag team title match. I don't know what they're doing with Damian Priest. No idea with the cash in. They got some time. SV3, what's happening?
I've never gone through this. I feel like Kate right
now. I know.
This is like Kate levels of frustration
I'm
having with my internet.
I do at least one show with you a week. At least. I've never seen your internet this bad. Never.
And like literally they told me there was like there was a winter storm here days ago.
What's the weather? What's the weather like there?
It's cold. It's cold here, but it's no storm. Like they said I was gonna have internet issues during the storm. Everything was perfect.
We're at 12 degrees here. 12 degrees. The real feel is
Let me see
2.
what it is here.
2 degrees, everybody. Wind is making it feel colder. So we're at 2 degrees here in lovely Ohio. That's where we're at.
I'm like now worried every time, Jeremy. You still do have like slight. You do a freeze now. I'm like scared. I'm like, oh fuck, is it happening again?
Oh, it's you. It's your internet, SP3. It's not me. It's not mine.
Yeah, it's me. It's me. My internet's taking the day off, and I have to do something on True Hill to this. It's 26 degrees here, so it's not even that bad here. But it seems internet is taking a nap today, and that the X-Men and Professor Xavier has took over it.
Anything else from Raw stand out for you besides the fact that we all agree Jinder Mahal should win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship?
Sorry, Seth. But I Seth needs to main event night 1 of WrestleMania with CM Punk. So Seth's going to retain. Now it's probably going to be a DQ to set up a rematch at the Royal Rumble.
I don't think it is. I think Seth is just going to win. I don't think we're doing like a DQ.
It's going to be a non-finish to set up the rematch. Best 2 out of 3 falls. Iron Man match. Mahal versus Seth freaking Rollins. What
How do you do best 2 out of 3 falls Iron Man match? How does that even work? Whoever wins the most 3 falls in the 60 minutes wins?
Yes, each fall.
What kind of King of Pro Wrestling ass stipulation is this, SP3? Oh, he's frozen again. Oh, look how happy he is, though.
Each fall is
there we go.
60 minutes.
Oh. I don't think he realizes like he's freezing. This is what happens to me when I don't realize it. But yeah, mine at least resets itself pretty quick. SP3's is just like, nah, we're just gonna let you keep talking and you not see that it's frozen. He's still very happy. Good on him. Good on him. Tony Khan's trying to force Triple H to take away Punk WrestleMania main event. I respect it. I respect the Tony Khan troll game. I truly do. Truly, truly do. All right, everybody. I know we started a little late. I do want to try to hit 2 hours, which means it's another like 10 minutes. Poor SP3. Cannot get it together. Oh, poor SP3. Joel Pearl's internet didn't work for him, so he couldn't show up. Poor Joel Pearl. SP3's just gone now. We're going to get great stories of Steve Macklin beating up Joel Pearl. Instead, didn't happen. Sad times. Maybe Joel will be back on Wednesday. No idea. No idea if Joel will be here on Wednesday. Unless he's a little coward again. Doesn't show up. Maybe SP3 will be here on Wednesday. His internet actually works. Maybe. Maybe not. I'll be here on Wednesday. I promise everybody. I'll be here on Wednesday. You can always count on me. You know, these other jokers taking shows off. Internet crapping out. That never happens to me. I never take shows off. My internet always holds up. I find a way to make it work. These guys, second the internet has issues. Nope, can't do it. Can't do the show, Jeremy. Find someone else, Jeremy. They got a little cough, a little sick, little under the weather. Can't do the show. Me, coughing all through these damn shows. Hocking up a lung. Still, I'm here for the people. I'm here to deliver the content for the people. Because you guys respect my time, and I respect your time. Stepdad, what a trooper. I am. Yeah. It's a tough job. Someone's got to do it, you know? Someone's got to do it. Raw tonight, Jinder Mahal. He's going to win the title. Again, Judgment Day. They got a couple matches. Cody Rhodes is going to open the show, everybody. Cody Rhodes, he's going to come out. Does Cody Rhodes get interrupted? And thinks what Cody Rhodes... The feud with Nakamura is over. That's done. So what does Cody do? He just declares he's going to win the Rumble. Is that what's going to happen with Cody? I think Cody's going to come out. I think he's going to declare that he wins He's going to comment on The Rock. He's going to comment on Punk. And he's going to say, I'm not flinching, never flinching. I'm going to win the Royal Rumble. That's what's happened with Cody Rhodes, SP3. What do you think?
Is he going to win the Royal Rumble? Probably not. It's going to be CM Punk. Sorry, Cody.
SP3. It's Martin. I like that you're doing the show from the bunker now. That's always good. It's Martin Luther King Day. Cody is about to deliver the speech among speeches to open this show.
Are they still going to do the Martin Luther King video package that they got to do that. They got to, even though it's not Vince, because that's Vince's baby. That's something that Vince loves to do.
They put it on social media already. It's up on social media. Yeah. They're going to air that shit during the show. Are you kidding me?
It needs to be Cody that introduces it.
Oh, that'd be good. That'd be good. Cody and his dream, the American dream to win the Royal Rumble and finish the story at WrestleMania, just like Martin Luther King had a dream. And tonight we celebrate Martin Luther King. Roll the video.
That's totally what they're gonna do, because he's kicking off the show. He's kicking off you don't even. No, of course they got to do the entrance. I was gonna say he starts in the ring.
No, you gotta do the entrance. No. Here's what happens. Here's what happens. Actually, they open with the video. And then they go to Cody. Big entrance, obviously. And Cody, he acts like this is the first time he's ever seen this video before. He's like, I was gonna come out here and I was gonna say one thing, but after watching that video and seeing the inspiration of Martin Luther King and seeing what he meant to these people and seeing what he meant to this country, I had something else to say. Now it is no longer about not flinching, everybody. We're still not going to flinch in the face of The Rock and CM Punk. But this is no longer about not flinching. This is about standing up for what you believe in, everyone. Much like Martin Luther King stood up for what he believed in. Martin Luther King didn't flinch. Cody Rhodes will not flinch. Martin Luther King stood up for what he believed in. Cody Rhodes is going to stand up for what he believes in. And I believe the 2024 Royal Rumble, I will enter and I will win and I will go on to WrestleMania and I will finish my story just like Martin Luther King finished his story.
Did he?
I don't know. In Cody's world, he did. Cody can just rewrite history. Why not?
His story ended a lot similar to yours at WrestleMania 39. I mean, just saying. But yeah, I think that we could see something like that. Cody will be able to pull it off. He's a maestro on the mic. He's the top babyface in WWE. Cody Rhodes will be fine regardless. It's okay. Everyone is getting so out of stress. They're getting so stressed out with Cody Rhodes might not be finishing his story at WrestleMania 40. There's no deadline for this, ladies and gentlemen. There is no deadline. It can happen at WrestleMania 40, 41, SummerSlam 2024. It don't matter.
Cody, I'm looking forward to the Cody speech tonight to open Raw. It's gonna be something. Do you think he declares that I'm gonna enter number 1? Do you think he actually goes that route?
Nah. I think I would be more confident in that, or that would be part of the story if someone had mentioned that in the past year. That you only won the Rumble. You came in at number 30. You had the luck of the draw. You were number 30 last year. I think if somebody had said that in a promo, or maybe we get that in the promo that sets it up for him saying that he's going to be number 1. A heel points out that, last year in the Rumble, you had the luck of the draw. You came in number 30. You came in after 8 months off.
All right, here's what it is then. Cody does a speech. Drew comes out, and Drew points it out. Drew's like, you had your moment because you were number 30. When I won the Royal Rumble, I came in at this. I took out Brock Lesnar, who was taking out everybody. I won the Royal Rumble based on that. And then I won at WrestleMania. Then I won the post-match WrestleMania main event too, that everyone forgets.
No one remembers. I won 2 back-to-back main events at WrestleMania.
Yeah, but I didn't get to do it in front of fans. I was robbed of that moment. You had your chance at your moment. This is my moment now. And then he brings it up. He brings up that Cody's number 30. And then Cody's like, you're crying ass out here. Oh, I didn't get to finish my story in front of a pandemic, in front of fans due to a pandemic. He's not going to mention that like he ran a wrestling company during the pandemic. He's not going to mention that. He's like, we all went through this pandemic. You just had to carry a title. I had to carry a promotion during this pandemic. He should say it. Oh,
he should. He should. No, watch. If it was in Jacksonville, he would have been like, I had to stay here and pull people up during the pandemic. Like, they would never say a promotion. They would say, I had to pull other people up during the pandemic.
Oh, that's good. I like that. And then Cody says, like, you know what? You think like I was gifted number 30? I'll enter number 1. And that's how we get to Cody entering number 1. Drew interrupts. Drew spits some facts. Cody spits some facts. 10-10 round. CM Punk buried. And Cody enters number 1.
I dig it. I'm with it. I think that Cody enters number 1 and then he's eliminated by Punk at the end. Or Punk or Orton.
You're sold on CM Punk winning. I like it.
Yeah, I'm 100% sold. I think that that's a much better option. I'm just saying, and I don't think that Cody should face Roman this year at WrestleMania. He's not going to win, so he should not face him.
Rock's winning this damn Rumble. Just wait, everybody. Rock.
He's number 30. Imagine it's Cody who's number 1, fights through the Rumble, breaks Gunther's record, only for number 30 to then eliminate him, so he knows how Gunther feels.
It's gonna be Punk, Cody, and Roman left. Or not Roman, Drew, sorry.
Yeah.
Punk, Cody, and Drew. They've 28 gone. They're just waiting. And then 30 hits. If you smell. And they all look at the ramp. The Rock just saunters down and they just eliminate themselves. They're like, fuck it. This guy's winning. And then Rock just gets in the ring and raises. Rock doesn't have to do any work. They just eliminate themselves. They're like, oh shit, we already know how this ends. Just why bother? Let's just toss ourselves out of here. And then Rock.
It's like it's a foregone conclusion. He's winning. He's facing his cousin. He's gonna have the main event of night 2.
That's the Rumble, everybody. Nobody has to watch. I just
they all say good night, guys.
Yeah. Rock just comes in and he raises his arm. He does people's eyebrow. People pop. Roman, I guess, comes out and then they do the confrontation. And you don't remember how The Rock won the Rumble. You just know he won, and you remember the confrontation. That's it. They don't even mention it the next night on Raw that how they eliminated themselves. They're like, thought we had it, but then Rock came out, cleaned house. Like they don't even mention it. They don't even, you know what? They don't even mention the Rock. They don't even mention the Rumble. It's just don't reference the Rumble at all.
I mean, to be fair, they don't mention the fact that The Rock helped Roman eliminate Kane and Big Show from Royal Rumble 2015. So
exactly. They just next night on Raw, Punk comes out. He just doesn't even say about the Royal Rumble. He's like, Seth, I'm coming after you. And then they set up.
He's like, I'm winning the Elimination Chamber.
Exactly. You just don't even reference the Rumble at all. That's how I'm booking things. All right, everybody, let's get out of here. SP3's internet just decided to schoolboy victory him multiple times during this show. The internet was undefeated against you today, SP3.
Dude, I mean, thankfully I have 5G on my phone. I should have thought of that after the second time that I got bumped from my computer. But the second time I was still thinking, that was just 2 times. It won't do it a third time. Nope, did a third and a fourth time. So here we are. But I'm glad I got to finish the show with Jeremy. Got to fill in for about an hour and 52 minutes of this 2 hours and 2 minute podcast. Thank you, Jeremy, for having me on, and I hope everyone enjoyed our antics talking about this wild weekend of professional wrestling we just experienced.
SP3, I appreciate you. Thank you for doing this show on literally 30 minutes notice. I appreciate it. Let everybody know where they can find you at.
You can find me on the Twitter machine over at True Heel SP3. I'll be live on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel now at 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time. I was going to jump right over and do that, but I need to figure out what the hell Professor Xavier did to my internet for the next hour before I go live over there. But join us live for that. We're doing our NJPW Battle in the Valley review. So we'll go through all the matches, all the big angles. Jack Perry showing up, the big matches for Windy City Riot with Mustafa Ali versus Hiromu Takahashi, Tetsuya Naito versus Jon Moxley. So join us live for that over on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. And I'll be back on this channel tomorrow with Jeremy Lambert, and hopefully the internet does not try to super kick me that time.
There's a game tonight, SP3.
Yeah. I know.
How you feeling about it?
I'm not gonna have any hopes on any type of games anytime soon until we show some more consistent play.
I don't know if we're gonna have Shay tonight. He's questionable. So like,
that's good though. That's good for us.
Yeah. Are you I feel like you're in a position now like you'll just take any win even if like we don't have our best player. So like I understand that position.
Hell yeah. I'm taking schoolboys. I'm taking cheap wins. I'm taking count out victories. Like we taking any type of wins we can over here in Laker Nation.
That's fair. Honestly. Completely fair on that. Yes, there's a Lakers Thunder game tonight. We'll see if I can make it until it doesn't start till 10:30. That's so late. I don't know if I'm gonna be staying up. I'll get up in the morning and then watch the highlights if we win. If we lose, I don't care at that point. We will talk about that game, I'm sure, and the rest of the week of basketball tomorrow on FMC. That's right. Exactly why syllable. We'll talk about the rest of the week in basketball on FMC, and we will play more Love is Blind mobile with the Great Share Delaware tomorrow as well. So everyone can, because
we all know that's the real draw. That's the real draw here.
100%. Everyone can tune into that tomorrow right here on this channel, FMC. SP3, thank you again, as always, for doing this, especially on the short notice. Joel, I guess, will be back on Wednesday until he again just messages me like, sorry, I can't do it, because he doesn't care about you guys. He doesn't care about you guys. Update, guys.
Just received a text message that says, Optimum, we're aware of an outage in your area and accessing conditions. You could have messaged me before we went live, Optimum. I'm calling you out live on air. You could have messaged me before. What? I just did a over 2 hour podcast. They didn't let me know the 4 times I got super kicked out of here that we're having outages, but they let me know at the end.
Oh boy. It just like cut off for a second there. Like you glitched out for a second. I didn't do that, everybody.
See, I'm just cutting off. I still had the Wi-Fi on.
Your 5G super kicked you.
No. I had the Wi-Fi on my phone just in case it came back on.
Oh, you took multiple L's on this show. Optimum kicked your ass all throughout this show. SP3.
Yeah, they did. I'm getting my money back this month. I'm getting my money back for January, y'all.
All right, everybody. We'll be back on this channel tomorrow. Myself and SP3. We'll be back in the weeds. 10 a.m. Eastern, Wednesday. Joel, I guess, will be back. If not, SP3 will be back. But we'll be back Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern, right here in the weeds. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for the likes, the subscriptions. If you did subscribe, if not, please do. The super chats, we appreciate it. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Hope everybody has a good week. Have a good Monday, everybody. We'll see you on Wednesday. Bye, everyone.